So it seems that Prince Andrew, or as we call him over here, Pervy Prince Andy, is back on the train to redemption at the moment, because not only has he had this settlement with Virginia Roberts, which we've talked about, also he was granted a very important position at the service of Thanksgiving for the memorial of Prince Philip. And I want to talk about this, guys, because it highlights a lot of concerns that I have. I'm going to be quoting a quote that I got from a lady called Camilla, who is from the Telegraph, who said that the firm's shift, and the firm, you see, I always start talking about all these interesting areas between in the royal family. We've got the firm, we've got the palace, we've got the this, that, right? The firm's shift from wanting to distance itself from the Duke to granting him a key position at the much expected event. The consensus among the courtiers appears to be that the Duke should never appear at another royal occasion. Yet when it comes to the firm, blood has always been thicker than water. Now, I've already done a video talking about the issues with the Queen supporting Andrew with all of this stuff, given the fact that she is the head of the church. Check that video out. But I want to talk in this about, you know, the flip-flop and this whole thing of the firm and the blood being thicker than water, and how quick people are to kind of ignore this whole situation that just took place. And what I want to highlight first and foremost is the fact that let's pay attention to how desperate it almost seems that, you know, the palace and a lot of the royal family and people were to almost exonerate him and act as if this was just a little blip and it was nothing that never mattered. Because and I say this before and I'll say it again, right? Just because somebody doesn't get a guilty verdict for something doesn't mean they didn't do it, in the same way that just because somebody does get a guilty verdict for something doesn't mean they did do it, right? And so this is the abuse of the justice system, and why I say the justice system is not just. This is exactly what I'm talking about, because we never got real justice with this system. He never had to do his deposition, which obviously just before that was supposed to happen is when this secretive settlement took place, and you can check out my previous videos about this to hear more details about that. And now, after a settlement, which, as I said, for me is an admission of guilt, because if I had been accused of such horrific things and I haven't done them, I'm for sure not settling for nothing. I'm for sure going to court, and I'll be like, get me to do the polygraph. I'll do a polygraph, I'll do a lie detector test, I'll do whatever. Come and have 20,000 people assess me and see if they think I'm lying. I would rather do that than pay a settlement and potentially be seen as having actually done these things. But look, lo and behold, that's not what Andrew did. And he said that, what does that do? And it means that now, because we are in this little limbo state where it's all grey now, because it's not definitive yet he's definitely guilty or not as far as the justice system is concerned, now people get to say, well, now that that's out of the way, and Virginia's whoever's lawyers I talked about this in one of the previous videos about what's been said now, and how they're saying now that he's supporting, oh, I wish I could remember the exact thing. If I can find it in my notes right now, I'll just tell you guys what I actually said in my previous video. But basically what's happening now is they're saying that, like, they're just throwing all this to the side. Like, it's almost like none of this stuff even matters anymore, because he's done the settlement, it's all closed, nobody knows what's going on, we're not even really saying anything about it anymore. And now he's just back to business as usual. He's back to having and it's like they didn't even wait to give him this position. Like, why did he have to have an important position at all of this? And it's like they were literally just jumping on the opportunity. Like, to me, it suggests that they were never really interested in justice. They were always interested in image. And I feel like part of the reason they're doing this is to just reinforce the image that, like, this is all just nothing. Like, he's back to normal. That was just whatever. Like, we won't even remember what that is in 3 seconds, although a lot of us will be remembering what that is, you know. And I think that's totally unfair. I think it's totally unfair in the sense that justice was not done. I don't understand why in these scenarios things like settlements are just not allowed, because I'll tell you why it shouldn't be allowed. Because if she was making serious claims, then a settlement shouldn't be allowed, because those are very serious crimes. And if we're supposed to be protecting the world from public good, right, from public good, and I'll tell you why I'll tell you why I use that phrase in particular. If you get convicted for a crime in the United Kingdom and you do 12 and you're sentenced to more than 12 months in prison, and you do not have a British citizenship, that is an automatic deportation order against you. So they automatically will deport you unless you can prove in extreme circumstances that you should be staying for whatever reason. Now, that's not dependent on crime. That's not only if you're a rapist, whatever. That could be anything, right? 12 months, right? So for that to be the case, right? And the reason why they say they do that is because they're protecting what? Public good. So if we're doing this to protect the public good, then how is a settlement in a case where somebody had been accused of sexual misconduct to an underaged person who is of the nobility of that country, how is that not something that could be a big risk to public good when a big part of, you know, Andy's job is actually to go and be around the public? Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, he's never going to go back to his royal duties the same. That's not the point, because number one, he's still getting looked after by the taxpayers' money. That's for starters. Or I think I might have found it. Yeah, he's still getting looked after by the taxpayers' money, right? Number one. And number two, right, it doesn't change the fact that if he's been accused of that, we should be getting to the bottom of it. We should be having a deposition where he's being asked to give evidence, right? What about other people who can't afford to be giving a 13 million settlement or whatever? You know, and I want to turn our attention, and I talked about this in the live that I did, but I want to draw attention to this now. I hope I didn't mention this in another video. There's a former Epstein lawyer called Alan Dershowitz, right? And I'm looking forward to see what happens with this. This might have all been secrefied. What's the word? Classified, like. But basically, Alan Dershowitz, who's a former Epstein lawyer, had sued, and Virginia had sued him for defamation after he claimed that she fabricated this whole story as part of a money-making exercise, right? He countersued. She sued him. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. So the reason why I mentioned this, sorry guys, the reason why I mentioned this is because the fact that this settlement took place ruffled more feathers than just those of us who are external. Even the ex-Epstein law is coming forward like, wait, but when I tried to accuse you of doing this just for money, which is what's now happened, right? And again, she did, this money supposedly is going to a charity. Whether that to me doesn't matter, because number one, that money could still somehow go to her. This could all be a lie. I'm going to do a little short talking about communism, and you guys need to watch that short. Watch the short when it comes out. Anyway, and also, even if it did go to the charity, if he did the crime needs to be addressed, because I think in society today, rather than keep, you know, it's almost like the thing of like when you've got like an issue, right? It's like when you've got a wound and you just keep putting a band-aid on it instead of actually getting it healed. Like, we need to heal the wound. Just saying we're going to create all of these charities for people who've gone through this stuff, let's get to the root of this stuff so it's not happening, right? And part of the reason in doing that, in my opinion, I think in a lot of people's opinion, is actually prosecuting fairly, justly, and fully the people who have done these types of things, right? Why was he not being put on a polygraph? Why is these things not normal? I want to know. But anyway, so for her to have sued him for defamation because of her accusing him of that, he's even like, well, he's now demanded, this Alan Dershowitz guy, that, well, I want to see the terms of the settlement. I want to see what's going down here, because you're trying to have a problem with, you had a problem with what I said, and now this was settled for money. And again, a lot of people would feel like if this was really not about money, if this was really about the justice you wanted, then the money should not have changed anything. And even if you know, and this is what I always say, this is why I say money is the real justice system, so-called justice system of this world. And money is one of the gods of this world. This is one of these false gods, because money, if you have enough money, you can pay off a lot of stuff. And this is the problem with us, because society, a lot of powers, this is why the gap between rich and poor stays the way it does, because then richer people who are better off can use their riches to manipulate people who are less off with money. As in, are you gonna really take me to court, or can I just pay you 500,000? A lot of people, even if they're wrongly done, might take 500,000. It might be the best decision for them as a mother, or maybe they're like a single mother, maybe they're struggling, maybe just because it's like, well, I'm going to be set for life with that money, which I understand, but at the same time, it allows them to continue these things and get away with stuff just because they can pay it off. And this is what I always say to you guys as well on here, that so many people get away with stuff in Hollywood, in the media, in the world, because they can pay people off. That's why they're obsessed with making money. That's why the rich want to get richer, and why the rich always need more money, because they've tapped into something that if I have enough money, I can pay people off. I can get the best lawyers. You always hear that, don't you? We'll get the best lawyers, blah, blah, blah. And what do I say to you guys that lawyers do? Lawyers are just experts at finding loopholes. Those top tier lawyers that they're getting are great at finding loopholes. They're not great at proving that person is innocent. Oh, no, no. They're great at finding loopholes so that even if that person is guilty, you can't even prosecute them because something small happened. Like, well, technically you didn't follow the proper procedure to write up this crime, and therefore you can't take them to, you can't charge them for this crime. Even if they've done it, even if they were caught doing it, right? If the way that you caught them doing it was via legal means, they can get away with it just because they've got good enough lawyers to find those types of loopholes. And this is why I have a problem with this stuff, and I have a problem with the firm, you know, backing up. I know she says blood has always been thicker than water for the firm. This is an issue that we have in society today, that a lot of people have, you know, family members who do stuff like this. And I talked about this in a previous video. A lot of people know somebody or have family members who do stuff like this, and they turn a blind eye, or they want to believe the best, and it's not helping us in society. It's not helping our progression, because then these things are continuing onwards. And I talked about, I don't know if I talked about this in a previous video, but on a spiritual level, when these people do these things, they're passing on all those spirits that are coming with them onto the people that are getting it. And this is why a lot of people who do these sick things, it happened to them before, right? So part of the very easy way we can prevent that stuff from happening is actually prosecuting people and stopping them and holding them accountable, not just letting settlements settle things, and then within a blink of an eye you being at having an important position at like an important event. And think about how many people could be watching everything going on with Andrew thinking, perfect, I'm just going to follow that, I'm just going to make sure I can pay it off. He's probably laughing about it behind closed doors. They're probably laughing about this stuff, you know. Anyways, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. I'd really appreciate that. And check out my other videos. I talk about lots of stuff over here. Shout out to my usual subscribers. I appreciate you, all of you guys, so much who've been sticking it out with me and all my different crazy videos and stuff. Y'all the real ones. Don't forget to like this video, guys. I really appreciate it. Other than that, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.